Hey guys, welcome to the Positive Experience Podcast, where we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly in living your best life. Today's segment is on the Hard Slog, where we shine the light on small local businesses. Hey guys, welcome to the Positive Experience Podcast. Today's segment is on the Hard Slog, where we shine the light on local businesses. And the local business today is Lash Fix. And I'd like to welcome warm greetings to my guest today, Amma. Hey mate, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Look, I appreciate you making the time to speak with me today. And, you know, this is not so much a local business. This is a business that's doing well locally, interstate, and internationally. And, you know, I'm really proud to be, fanboying on your whole thing that you're about, which we'll get right into. We'll talk about Lash Fix, absolutely. But where I'd like to begin is the very beginning. So if you could just spend a bit of time explaining to our audience about where you started and maybe where your family, where you were brought up, that'd be great.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Is there echo because of me?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Oh, okay. So Lash Fix started with my sister Venna. So she actually founded Lash Fix. We grew up in Auckland, Ranui. There's only two of us, which is already weird for a salmon family. And basically, when we, sorry.
Okay.
With Lash Fix, so there's a whole lot that happened. But basically, our parents have always been really hard workers. We would watch them wake up at 5 a.m, come back 5 p.m. They were really out hustling, and we always were we need to do something. They're doing so many, making so many sacrifices for us. What are we doing? What is our use? And so that's kind of where the idea of going into business came in. But the birth of Lash Fix started with my sister Venna. She moved to Melbourne in 2012. So it was her husband, and her two kids. So her and her husband, they were working full time. And I think a lot of moms will relate to this as well, that they would be working full time and only really seeing her kids probably early in the morning when you wake up, and then just before dinner time. So she just felt like she couldn't connect with her kids. She felt like she was failing almost, and she didn't like the way that felt. She took a lash course without really knowing what it was. This is before we even knew extensions were a thing, and then she just ran with it. Since then, it's grown into what Lash Fix is now. But it all really just began with the sacrifices that my mum and dad made to help us be able to start anything.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
With that, I'm sorry to butt in. That migrant story where we look at our parents, we love our parents, we understand the hard grind. That is a vein that a lot of us can really understand, regardless of your nationality. You know, especially the promise of going to a new land, like from the islands to New Zealand, and then our generation from New Zealand to Australia. You know, to make the best of your circumstances. You know, that's why your story, yours and your sister and your family, resonates with me. Where I'm coming from is when Venna started into the Lash training. What was the picture looking like before Lash Fix? So just that little bit before Lash Fix started. Paint that picture, maybe for you personally. So you came over to Melbourne from New Zealand because you thought, let's turn a new leaf. Tell us that story.
Okay. So at the time, Venna was working as a bank teller. So in my dad's eyes, she had made it. If you're someone and you're working in an office, you're you are successful.
Number one.
That's
number one.
Yeah. but yeah, there was just the whole, like, she wasn't able to be with her kids, so that was like the kind of pain point for her. So she came back to Auckland and she did her lash training there. Um, and I was actually in uni, but not really going to uni. Like, I was enrolled, but I wasn't actually going to classes. So I would always be with Venna anyway. She tried to do makeup, and we both found out she wasn't good at that. And then she went into lashes, and she actually wasn't really good at that either. And we're just like, we're both wasting a lot of time and money. Like, you need to like sort something out. And so long. Um, what she actually did was like she just started practicing lashes. Like, she really got into it. And then once she was actually able to complete one set, I was like, okay, cool. I can start marketing for you. I had no idea what marketing was then. Um, I didn't even use the word marketing. I said I'll post on the social media for you. Like, that was my way of helping her. Um, and yeah, that's kind of like what was just before her starting Lash Fix, was that we were both just like feeling super useless because obviously, like, my parents had been working for so many years now, and they're just looking at us like, you're at uni, you're at the bank, and you're gonna quit. Like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when you guys were following your interests and kind of like your new developed passion, right? When did the light bulb come on? Was it that point when Venna finally kind of mastered the lashing, the actual technical skill, and then you thought, look, I'll help promote you, and then you felt like something was there? Because I can understand your parents, they want the best for you, but they may not necessarily understand where you're coming from. Like, when did you guys have the confidence just to say, stuff it, let's do this?
Um, I think for me, um, like for Venna, I know her confidence came from, like, obviously, like, my parents, but also she had her own family to provide for, so she had to make it work as well. Where my kind of aha moment was when I saw that she was finally like kind of going into business, and I was like, okay, she's wanting my parents to move to Melbourne. I'm gonna be here by myself. Like, what's a way that I can still um, help? Um, and because I was at uni, like, I was that person that kept moving from major to major to, like, I just kept changing. And then I took my first class of marketing. It was like marketing 101. And in that class, I was like, everything that I learned, I could apply straight away. And that's when it kind of like I had my aha moment. Because I had done like law, I had done English, I did politics, like I did so many different classes, but in all of them I wanted to sleep. Like, none of them lit anything inside me. But when I was in marketing, I was like, oh my goodness, like, this is useful stuff. I can go home, jump on the internet, and actually apply the things that I learned. And then yeah, I just went from there. I just ran with it.
Awesome. So you had it kind of felt like you were in a buffet and you were like tasting lots of different things, and then finally you came to something that you really liked the smell and taste of it because you could apply that skill today.
Yeah.
Is that kind of the way that you saw it, right? And then at the same time, Venna was living her life and she had her family, so kind of like the planets aligned and you guys were ready to jump into Melbourne and get this thing going. Does that kind of sound right?
Yes, but I didn't I didn't actually move to Melbourne until like a year and a half later. So I think there were a lot of signs that was like actually pushing me to move here. But for some reason I just felt so connected to New Zealand. I felt like I couldn't move.
Yep.
And then it was the opening of Port Melbourne that I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. Like, I can't keep like managing the bookings from Auckland, and then there was like the 2 hour difference. And then I was also like I was working at a call center at the time as well.
Uh-huh.
And so my manager will walk past, and I'm like, hi, welcome to Lash Bar. Like, I'm like writing up emails. Or I'm like, hi, Roseanne, you didn't come to your appointment on this day, blah, blah. And then he's like, can you get off there? And I'm like, oh, I really can't. Like, my family are depending on me.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I think the thing where my mind's going to now, right, is from my understanding of your story, right, is that I think Venna was starting up with like a home setup for a little while, and then you had the successful launch. I think was it in Truganina Way or Tarneit, and then Port Melbourne. So paint that picture, that timeline from sort of the more recent events.
So once Venna really started to pick up, she got my parents to move over. And they moved and bought a house in Tarneit. So that's the house that we're in now. And this is what it looks like. But before this, it was really just kind of plain, like just white walls, a counter, and then a few beds. But it was exactly what Venna needed just to get started again, and to really establish Lash Fix as a brand. From there, we did for Venna, because I wasn't here yet. She was able to hire 2 lash techs and 2 hairdressers, and so like it really became like a Pacific hub.
Salon, yeah.
Yeah, so we like it kind of grew. I started to really try to branch out as much as we could online. We did like articles of Summer magazine. I was literally like emailing Fresh like every 2 weeks, like, hello, can you please shine some light on us?
Yeah.
Just trying to like spread our wings as much as possible. And then it did get to a point where she was just back to back to back. And the council was also like, there's too many people in that building. You guys need a shift. So we're like, oh, okay.
Good problem to have.
Like,
yeah.
And so Venna and my mom went out and they looked at the shop in Port Melbourne. And then that was the same day that I moved. I decided to move to Melbourne.
Man, so to buy you some time, I'm going to ask you a question about what it's like working with family, because that's my situation. Our business is family run, so I can understand the awesome benefits of working with family, but also some of the challenges. So could you give me some insight on what it's like to work with family?
It's difficult. Sorry. Yeah, it's really difficult because me and my sister were really alike, but also complete opposites as well. So like whenever we think about the way we think, I'm like, you think like dad, and I think like mom, and it's like we're constantly clashing. But the thing is that it's like good because the things that I don't see, she'll see, and it kind of saves our back, and then vice versa as well. But yeah, we never have meetings because we just fight. Like we've never had a civil meeting. And I remember one of the girls that I did a workshop with, she was asking me like, how do we plan? And I was like, we have to plan via text because it's the easiest way to communicate without like yelling at each other. Like I have to send her something, and then like a little bit later, then we'll see each other and then we'll talk a bit and then we'll go away, because otherwise, we do clash. And there are a few times at the salon where we were arguing, but yelling, but whispering, like,
angry.
And we're like in the corner, and we're really like pointing and like, no, but like the volume is really low, but we're like really like trying to. Like we really want to break each other. That's what it's like working with family. But I guess in the long run it's good because then you get the anger out of the way and then you can keep moving forward. Well, that's what we tell each other.
Yeah, absolutely, because I think we're individuals and we have our strengths and weaknesses personally, but then when you're working in a team environment, and if you're like a normal workplace where there's no family working, you can kind of resolve these problems in a different way. But when it's family, it's like you can go another layer deeper to get things done, but then there's a bit of pain associated with that too. Especially if, like, say, one person's really creative and the other person's really like systematic in how they do things. You can kind of don't see eye to eye, but in the end, it's really complementary. Is that what you're finding?
Yeah, that's exactly how we are.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
And so if you were, where you are now in the business, right? If you were, what would you tell yourself, knowing what you know now, say if you were to start again in starting a business, what would be like the number one tip that you would give 12 months ago?
Ooh.
And I know it's a tough time at the minute because of COVID and all those challenges. Like, we're all in the same boat. Like, while you're thinking about it, I'll buy you some time. Like, for me, it would be like the communication style. Like, sometimes when you're working with customers or you're working with people, like the way that I communicate before, if I'd thought about it and maybe worked on myself to communicate a bit more clearly, that would probably be one of my weaknesses that I've worked on, because then that can help me, in business side of things and just being a good person. What do you think, given that you've got a lot of war wounds in helping in building your business in Lash Fix, along with your sister? What would be one key skill that you'd probably advise yourself 12 months ago?
I think mine will be something similar. There were a lot of times where we would be approached about like a project or like just something in business, but because I wasn't used to conflict, I didn't know that you could say no without having an argument. Like, does that make sense? That so something will happen or someone will approach us, but we're like too scared to say no. And then it ends up kind of blowing in our face because we didn't know how to communicate that. It didn't align with our brand and it just didn't align with our brand. And yeah, I think just picking up the balls to communicate that to someone if they had come up to us about something. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So what I'd like to transition to now is primarily Lash Fix and where you are now. So if you're looking at a philosophy, right, in what you believe in and the service and the way that you help people in the community with your awesome service and products, what would be the let's say core belief or philosophy that you might have as a person or that the business Lash Fix has?
A core belief. I don't know if this really answers the question, but we've kind of made it our mantra to always dream with your eyes open. There's been so many things that we've been able to achieve that we know that wouldn't have been possible if we just didn't take that first step. And now that we're in the kind of training and mentoring stage of our business, we know that that's the biggest kind of hurdle for small businesses, is like just taking that first step to start. So I think it's like dream with your eyes wide open and just do it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So based on that, dreaming with your eyes wide open, if you hadn't been thrown this curveball with COVID, right? And again, I am a fan. I'm watching what you guys are doing, which is awesome. I do understand that you have like multiple offerings. Like, how did that come together from being like a physical, say, salon to doing these things online? Like, just tease that out, because a lot of people wouldn't have been comfortable to make the pivot. So I just want to congratulate you guys on making that big, bold step.
Thank you. What did we? So we launched the lash training in October last year, and it was purely just like we had been trying to do this for a couple of years. Like, we tried it in 2017, it didn't work. We tried it 2018, it didn't work. But something, I don't know what it was, whether it was we just had better marketing messages or we had a wider brand reach. But people actually booked in 2019. We were like, what
happened?
And like, I'm like telling the truth. Like, when I put it out, it was the same package that I put out in 2017, the same package I put out in 2018. but something in 2019 made people actually want to book in. So we just ran with that. We started to get inquiries about Auckland, and we just there was just so much happening with lash training, and we found that there wasn't enough time. So that's when we actually started to think about online courses, and we're like, how do we turn this into a more passive income? And so we were already thinking about that before COVID hit. And then when COVID hit, we were like, wow, we can't do anything else. Like, we're literally bound to our house. And we have internet access. And then that's how it kind of ran. Like, it went into lash training, marketing workshops, and then we have like upskilling lash technique workshops that we do as well. And yeah, that's how it kind of all started.
And that's awesome. And so where you were in Port Melbourne and where you are currently, so I'm trying to get the timeline right. So the thing that resonates with me is that you had tried something, but you didn't give up. Like, you just persisted. And I think that you guys kept showing up, kept talking about the things that you're passionate about, kept promoting the things that you believed in. I think that resonates with people because they see that, man, these guys are really onto it, and they're going to be here and they're going to keep pushing this thing. That's awesome. And I think that's probably the message. That's the takeaway home message, kids. Don't give up. If you really believe in the thing that you're doing, you will get there. And even when you do get there, that doesn't mean it's the finish line. It still evolves into this new thing. Like, is that what you feel?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I remember someone asked me about like, what do you do after you build or after you're established? And I was like, you keep building. Like, there's no end to it. Like, there's still like, I think especially for us and my sister, she's a visionary. Like, that's her. Like, she loves to think forward. She dreams big, and then I'm the how do we get there? Like, I try to navigate it from there. But because we have that kind of mindset, like, we're always like thinking, okay, now we're here. What can we do to better ourselves? What can we do to help our community? Like, how do we become our best version so that it like has that kind of ripple effect onto everyone else that we come into contact with?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, how they say sometimes opposites attract and complement each other. I think that's
Yeah.
you guys are kind of like Voltron, where you kind of form together and make this one massive badass robot. So that's really awesome. What I'd like to transition to is just ask you a few quick fire questions. So I'll just give you one or the other, and then you can pick one or the other or both, up to you, just so it gives us and the audience a bit of a chance to get to know Amma a little bit more. So of these two, which do you prefer, the beach or the trees?
The beach.
Okay. Did you live near the beach in Auckland?
No, I lived in Ranui. It's like west of Auckland. Like, I live next to the bush.
Oh, really? So it's not coastal, it's like inland west.
Yeah. It's like Waitakere Ranges. So it's like right deep in the bush.
Oh, okay, cool. A night out or Netflix at home?
Probably Netflix at home now, but like 2 years ago was definitely a night out.
What are you watching on Netflix?
I just finished watching Indian Matchmaking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was actually really good.
Okay, go check it out. Okay, Nepal or New York?
New York.
Okay, country acreage or inner city loft?
Ooh. I think inner city loft. I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Stuck between both worlds.
Maybe country for now because we're in COVID. We can't do anything, and that sounds like really beautiful. But a loft is, I don't know.
It's a lifestyle, man. You just want to be in the city.
Yeah.
You're a city slicker. Okay, cool. Ford or Holden?
Being Holden.
Holden,
Sure.
okay. Good Aussie car. Okay, and name the top two things that you're going to do as soon as lockdown lifts.
Oh, I really want seafood. I want to go to like a seafood buffet. I've been thinking about it since the first lockdown. I think that, and I think go back to New Zealand. I think, yeah, I want to go back to India for a little bit.
NZ, go visit family, friends, say hello. Cool. And before we head down the home stretch and finish up, if I was to pull your phone out and whip it onto Instagram, like who would be someone that you're following at the minute that you like them because they're funny, they're comedian, or someone's inspirational, or maybe it's a celebrity? Who's the number one person that you tune into?
I'm like sickly obsessed with Beyonce, and I have been since I can't remember. So probably Beyonce.
Beyonce, yeah. I think most guys crushed on Beyonce at one point in their life. What's your favorite song of Beyonce's?
Check on It.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, mate. So what I'd like to do here, as we're heading down the home stretch, is just finish up with any things that you guys are up to right now that you'd really love to share with the audience. It may be a program that you're pulling out online, or it may be new products that's available. Yeah, give it to us. What have you guys got cooking?
We've got like a whole lot of stuff. So at the moment, we've got the marketing workshop that's happening this Sunday. I think I've only got 2 spots left for that one. We have ring lights that are coming out end of August. So if you're a lash artist, a makeup artist, or if you just like to take selfies, then you can purchase a ring light off us. And then we've also got a lash liner glue. If anyone knows what that is, basically just put your eyeliner on and you stick your lashes on, and you're good to go. Yeah, those are our newest kind of products and services coming out. And then, yeah, we'll probably be looking at doing something else in the upcoming weeks.
Awesome. So we'll post the links to the addresses and all the bits and pieces, the promotions that Emma's talking about to this video. Plus, I would also encourage that you guys check out, if you haven't already, their online presence is awesome on Instagram. Like, they're very, very active, and the stuff that they do is unique. I would just encourage that you get across there and check it out, because they may take a photo from one angle, but it looks like it's out of this world, like in a real premium lush place, but it's the lab, it's the salon. So again, I really compliment you and Venna and the family on the work that you guys have put on together. I just want to double check, so your on Instagram is Lash Fix Beauty Bar, is that right?
Yeah, Lash Fix Beauty Bar.
Cool. And I can see on your shirt there, the website online, if you want to check it out on Google, is lashfix.com.au. I just really want to thank you for your time today, Emma. Did you have any last comments or any shout outs or anything that you wanted to say before we say goodbye?
I don't know about shout outs, but I'm just really grateful to be asked to be here. And yeah, this was my first podcast, and it's something different. I feel like I laugh like 80% of the time. So yeah, thank you for having me.
No, look, everyone feeling your warm vibes there, and I really appreciate your time today. Guys, check out Lash Fix, check out Venna and Emma. They're doing great work, and they're a testament to new Australians who come and try their best, regardless of the situation that we're all in. All right, so have a great day wherever you are, and we'll catch up again soon. See you guys. Thanks, Emma.